All right. Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Taylor. I'm the Region 1 president. I know it's just a technicality at that point, but hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Tonight, we're going to have a couple of minutes to talk to all of our candidates for regional positions. We're opening up our state reps this year, which is very exciting. So we wanted to give folks an opportunity to meet them, as well as talk to the individual running for a student representative. So we're going to kind of run through the line of all of the people. I will introduce you by your name, what position you're running for, and then please feel free to take a couple of minutes to introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, your background, and why you think you'll make a good candidate. Folks who are listening on at home, if you have any questions for any of the folks, any of our panelists here tonight on our session, please feel free to put those in the chat box, or it might appear as the questions box. And if it is for a specific candidate, I just ask that you make sure that you're noting that somewhere. So we're not just throwing questions out all willy-nilly like. But please, I encourage you, if you do have questions, feel free to put those in the chat box, so we'll make sure that they get to the right people. Okay, I will stop talking now because this is not about me. No one wants to hear from me. And I will turn it over to our first candidate here, Miss Mary Rose, who is going to be running for our Connecticut state rep position. So please, Mary Rose, go for it.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to meet you all. Yes, as stated, I live in Connecticut. I'm from Connecticut, and I currently work for the University of Connecticut, and that's my alma mater. I actually started in emergency management about 24, 25 years ago. As an opportunity to change jobs, I was a planning analyst for one state agency, and there were positions open at the Office of Emergency Management at the State Armory. And that was late 90s, so it's been quite a while. And so I've spent pretty much my entire career working in emergency management. I started in the Radiological Emergency Preparedness Program, which I find to be probably one of the easiest programs to follow. It's very prescribed. You educate your population. You exercise regularly, and there's money that goes to local emergency management. So it's a big deal. I've also been a regional coordinator, working with multiple regions in the state of Connecticut. And I also was I was a planner for another region. So I've actually probably touched about 75–80% of the towns in Connecticut through that. Now, as a emergency management specialist at UConn, we have our main campus at Storrs, and I'm lucky enough to live not too far, right down the road. And we have our regional campuses. So we do emergency management for UConn Storrs, our regional campuses, our law school, and our medical center and hospital. So we have a lot of emergency management activities going on within our department. I work with a great group of people, so that makes life easy and exciting to go to work every day. But it also gives me an opportunity to do things like this, because I have a great group of people I work with, that I can, on my other time, reach out and support emergency management in this role. So I'm really excited about it. I've been an IAEM member for about 8 years, but I just recently got my CEM, something I put off, right? I put it off for quite some time. To my dismay, there was a lot of training that didn't count because it happened 10 years before, but I still did it. And I truly believe with that, it not only demonstrates a commitment, but there's a responsibility. And this is actually part of the reason I was really excited that Catherine McCormick approached me and asked me if I would be interested in this position to try to be a candidate for this position, is that with the CEM, I would truly like to promote that. I would like to promote that through my state, working with local emergency management, working with all sorts of emergency management. And that's really neat about all you folks. You come from various backgrounds in emergency management. It's not just state, not just local, it's private business and so forth. So it's really kind of neat. So with that, I really would like to continue on with the job that Catherine's been doing in our state to promote emergency management, promote training and exercise opportunities for folks. And at this stage of my life, I'd really love to mentor people starting out, because one of the things my niche I put in my my notes to you folks was that I love planning. And there's not a hazard I haven't tried to work through. So some interesting things I had to do is I worked through the state avian influenza plan. I learned a lot about chickens at the time, poultry. I did after Superstorm Sandy, I did the state housing plan, something I've never touched before, working with HUD, FEMA, and a bunch of other folks. Once again, I told you I did the radiological plan, but also the Yukon plan, and right now I'm finishing up a dam plan. So I have a lot of different experience within emergency management. Of course, I've been part of Emergency Operations Center activations from Hurricane Floyd and worked at the Joint Field Office all the way. I was the person they were afraid of at Y2K that would come in Monday morning and mess up the computer, but also through on horrible situations too that our state has faced. So I come to you, come to this group, hopefully, with some experience and actually a lot of learning I want to do from you, because there's always something to learn in emergency management. We don't reinvent the wheel, but we enhance the wheel, and we usually enhance it together. So that's a little bit about me. I'm also a PTO member. I'm very active in my community at different things, and but this sounded like an amazing opportunity.
Thank you so much. Congratulations on your CEM. That's incredible. Anyone who's gone through the process, I'm sure can attest that it is not an easy thing to do. So congratulations on that. And we're so excited that you're interested in joining the team and running for this position. It's certainly an interesting experience, needless to say. And I will leave it at that, I suppose. Um, like I had mentioned, if folks do have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the chat box. We will make sure that they get to the right folks. Thank you so much, Mary Rose. We're going to
Thank
scoot
you.
on to our next candidate here, Miss Emily, who is running for our Maine State Representative. And if I mess any of this up, please someone call me out on it because it's been a long day.
Good evening. Thanks, Taylor. I'll just quickly bring up my 100-point plan for my second term in office. Just kidding. No, my name's Emily Castor. If I haven't had the pleasure of meeting with you folks, I serve as a senior emergency preparedness specialist at Tidal Basin. So I work remotely from Maine, but I support clients around the country with different planning, training, and exercise projects. Prior to that, I did work in county emergency management in the state of Maine for about 5 years. So I have a good lay of the land and good relationships with the key partners here. And then in my free time, aside from IAEM, I'm also pretty engaged with the state EM Association, the Maine Association of Local Emergency Managers. And I also serve on the advisory committee for the new emergency management graduate degree program at the University of Maine. So that's a little bit about me. In the last year, I've been really proud to hit the ground running in the first term. So some of the things that I was able to accomplish so far, I helped with the development of the new member orientation for the region, tried to really push out regular updates to our Maine members, hosting a happy hour in Southern Maine, which hasn't happened for quite some time, and working collaboratively with the state association. Some of the things I supported for them were setting up their scholarship program, doing a membership survey and kind of a report to help guide them in the future, and then also doing a evening of lightning talks in the fall last year. Some of the things that I want to try to take on in the next year, though, because there's more work to be done, is setting up more recurring check-ins. Sorry, my dog is not happy. Setting up more check-ins with some of the key EM partners, our state association, our state EM agency, to try to be that convener and collaborator. And then I'd also like to work more on legislative affairs in the upcoming year. So that's just a little bit about me, what I've accomplished, and kind of what I hope to do in the next year. But again, I'm a big advocate for leading the change that you want to see, which is why I want to come back for year 2 and finish some of the work that I've started. Thank you.
We won't hold it against you that you want to come back, Emily, I promise. Thank you so much. Your dog sounds absolutely adorable, so don't even worry about it. Thank you so much, Emily. We're gonna scoot on to our next candidate here. We're gonna talk to Mr. Nate Almeida, who is running for our Massachusetts State Representative.
Thank you, Taylor. So good evening. Still considered evening, right, at 6 p.m.? Good evening, everyone. My name is Nate Almeida. I professionally work for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, supporting their public safety and emergency management program. And I'm also very active within IEM. I serve as the regulatory affairs liaison for the healthcare caucus, advocating with Joint Commission. I've served as the Massachusetts State Rep for a couple years, and before that was the founder and president-elect of the student chapter at the graduate school at Mass Maritime Academy, and I serve on a couple other committees and caucuses within the association. So those are how I keep myself busy in my free time. But the reason, the thing that draws me to IEM and the reason I want to serve again next year as the Massachusetts State Representative is really surrounding the concept of the networking piece. I think it's something that as an association gets discussed and talked about frequently and constantly, but I really see significant value in the association and in the ability to be able to network across not just individuals that work in your own discipline, but across the industry as emergency management practitioners. Something that I really felt was assisting us as an association and as healthcare practitioners specifically was during COVID, the ability to reach out across the country to individuals that are experiencing very different challenges on what it seems like, but at the end of the day, it's all the same challenges, and we're able to brainstorm with individuals from California, Texas, all across at the drop of a hat. I've found that the membership of IEM is very quick to offer assistance when asked, very willing to share, their way of doing things, their processes, and that's something that I want to continue to foster, is those relationships. So I know we started out with the desire a couple years ago now, or maybe it was one, time's been blending together, where about halfway through COVID, we wanted to, as a group, offer an opportunity to share lessons learned, conduct an after action series that we hosted here in Region 1, and bring people together from the different sectors that were experiencing different challenges, but caused from the same event, which is somewhat unique in its own right. And that ability to network and share connections led us to initiate that happy hour series, which I gladly love to attend, especially when they're in person. But it's really the ability for individuals across the country to meet, discuss contemporary challenges, discuss the future of what the profession is going to look like. And that was my focus for the first year or so in the role. And then in the last year, one of my focuses was taking all those great conversations, those discussions, and bringing them forward to some place where there can be change. So it's very easy to talk about the challenges we face. It becomes a little bit more difficult when we try to solve for them. And so that's something that I focused a lot of energy on in the last year. And we were fortunate in some of our networking opportunities and individuals that have been very receptive to feedback and ideas in the Massachusetts legislature. And I'd be remiss not to give a shout out to Christian Cunny, who's just been an absolute rock star in all the work that he's been helping coordinate and facilitate here in Massachusetts specifically. But that's kind of what brought me to what I want to do moving forward, and that is see some of the changes that we started discussing a couple years ago. See some of the draft legislature move through Massachusetts. See some of the changes. We've been opening the doors and having the conversations, providing some advocacy here in the Commonwealth to be able to see and demonstrate from a practitioner's point of view, what is it that we see as challenges that we're facing every day in our profession. And now that we've been able to have those conversations, I really want to stay on to see them through. See through that those conversations are still being heard, that we're still moving in the needle, so to speak, with forward progress here in Massachusetts and in the region. But I really think that from the position of the state representative, that's a great opportunity for not only the individual in the role, and I say that for all the roles on this call today, but also for the membership. I think that there's an opportunity here in New England that you don't always see in professional associations, where you have the access to your state representatives who can then provide that advocacy on your behalf and bring together the power of IEM on behalf of the entire state, the region, instead of individual efforts, really bringing that collective effort together. And so Taylor will attest that it is very easy for me to just go on and on, but I will pause and yield the time so that we can move along and give others the opportunity to speak. But thank you to everybody on the call, and I look forward to hopefully having the opportunity to continue those efforts.
I was not going to say anything about that, Nate. I was just going to say something nice, but it's fine. I'll refrain. It's all good. I will go ahead and kick it off to our next candidate here, Miss Chelsea St. George, who is going to be or is running for our New Hampshire State Representative position.
Thank you for yielding your time, Nate. We all appreciate it. Good afternoon, good evening. I don't even know what time it is anymore. Good evening, everyone. I'm probably not a super familiar face, but I am Chelsea St. George, and I live and work in New Hampshire. During the day, my 40-ish hours a week includes working at the Granite State Healthcare Coalition, which really aims to bring together professionals from across healthcare, including our hospitals, emergency medical services, public health, and of course, emergency management, to really look at that all hazards response for healthcare planning. Over the last several years, I've held a number of different positions and taken a pretty interesting journey to where I am now today. I went to school for, I was pre-med, I wanted to be a doctor, decided no, went on to get some more education in public health. And then I sort of fell into emergency management and fell in love with it. So I got my start in emergency management, working for local emergency management. And I transitioned into public health emergency preparedness work, and then transitioned to where I am now. I've been a member of IAEM, for about 6-ish years, maybe 5. I can't do math. But I really joined initially just for the networking opportunities. It seemed like the right thing to do as a new professional trying to figure out how to navigate this world. And along the way, I've met a lot of really great people, and it's really encouraged me to want to try to pay it forward somehow. So last year was my first term as the New Hampshire State Representative. Hopefully I didn't do too terrible of a job, but I do really look forward to the upcoming year. I was really able to immerse myself in a lot of the work and really lend a hand and use my skills to help many. You know, whether that be working with Emily on our signature event for this fall, or working through updates for training curriculum, bringing in webinar speakers, You know, attending all of those happy hours in person, even if they're not in my state, Nate. I do travel, and it's really great to meet a lot of different professionals and hear the battle story, so to speak, and understand that we all have very similar challenges, but they're all incredibly unique. This next year, I'm really excited. I truly believe in the core foundation of what IAEM stands for, and that's really just to make better emergency managers, right? We all want to advance the field and just be better emergency managers. And the face of emergency management is changing, and it's changing in a big way. And I want to be part of that and help steer that course a little bit. So over the next year, I don't know what's going to be the most appropriate. We'll have to do a little bit of planning around it, but I really want to start to more intentionally highlight the different faces of emergency management, recognizing that the emergency manager is just not your town emergency manager or your state emergency manager. It includes people from across healthcare, from private industry, from higher education. There are emergency managers among us, and we all face similar challenges in our own unique ways. So I really want to advance the membership, get more people on board and buying into IAEM and developing that network with some more diverse faces, but really to continue on in that mission with IAEM. So I will yield the rest of my time. Thank you very much.
Between you and Nate, you're making us all sound like superheroes, and I'm not mad about it. But, you
It's
know,
pretty great.
I need to take snippets of everyone's conversations here, and we'll just use it for advertising to gain membership with IAM. I
That's
think that
fine. I mean, you were able to steal me in during the middle of a pandemic response. So when bandwidth was at its absolute lowest, the cell was still there. So kudos.
you know, it's all good stuff. All right, our next individual here is Mr. Kevin Kugel. He is one of two people running for a Rhode Island state representative position. So, Kevin, if you would like to go ahead and take it away.
Sure. Since everyone else yielded so much time, that gives me about 40 minutes to speak, which Taylor and many other people know I probably could do, but I won't. I'm not going to run you through my resume. That's easy enough to find on LinkedIn or just ask. But I will highlight some of the reasons why I want to continue to serve as the Rhode Island State Rep to the Region 1 board. My journey began quite a while ago. I was in the Army for 22 years, and about 9 years into my career, a mentor of mine said, someday the Army is going to tell you they don't need you anymore. So you better figure out what you're going to do when you grow up. And I decided that for me, I wanted to continue to serve the public and the nation, and also use the skills that the Army had taught me. So I did some searching around and found emergency management. Pretty unknown at the time, but started taking some FEMA courses. And yes, at the time, they were actual books that they mailed you. You filled out the test and mailed it back, and got a letter in the mail several weeks later saying whether you passed or not. I know that dates me, but it's the truth. And then as my career progressed in the military, I continued when I could to take FEMA classes, independent study classes, and try and work towards that as my after Army career. When I got to Providence in 2012, I started volunteering at the Providence Emergency Management Agency. I got became a member of the CERT team and was an active participant there, and was lucky enough that when I did retire from the military, I was able to transition from volunteer to the director of Providence Emergency Management for about 3 years before taking on my current role at CVS. I've been active in all aspects of emergency management during that time. I've been a volunteer leader with Team Rubicon, since about 2016. 2016. Been a member of IAEM and the Rhode Island Association of Emergency Managers since that time. Been in this position since 2017 when I wanted to start giving back to IAM and realized that there was no Rhode Island state rep. So I cold called the current president at the time, Christian Lamphere, and said, what do I do? We had about a 40-minute conversation while I was pulled into a parking lot on the side of the road, going to or from one training or another. And at the end, he said, okay, you're the Rhode Island state rep. And I've been serving in that position since. I'm also currently the vice president of the Rhode Island Association of Emergency Managers, and just recently took on the role as volunteer partner for the senior director to service to the armed forces for the Connecticut, Rhode Island American Red Cross. So very excited about that. I know it sounds like I have no free time, but you know, I don't, and that's the way I like it. If I would get into trouble if I had free time, Taylor's shaking her head. It's very true. But I enjoy the emergency management profession. I enjoy being a part of the associations and helping further the profession I've chosen. And I think I've been able to do that in my time at IAM. We went from really just kind of existing to putting together what's become model programs for the rest of the regions in IAM. Our webinars, the socials, the happy hours, the participation in state associations and their conferences, our own conference, although we haven't been able to hold one because of COVID, really have all become models. Our newsletter, our new member orientation. These are all programs that have been taken on by other regions after we've piloted them. And I'm very proud that I've been a small piece in most, if not all, of those programs. It's my goal to continue that and make sure that there is an ROI for members. I think Nate and I talk a lot during these meetings. He's really focused on that strategic and legislative front, and I kind of take the opposite approach. I'm very focused on training and the professional development, individual professional development side of our profession, and hope to continue that if you allow me to continue to serve as the Rhode Island State Rep. I'd be happy to answer any questions from anyone except Taylor at this time. Pending that, I would like to turn it back over to Taylor for whoever is left.
Don't worry, I'll ask all kinds of questions offline. And I appreciate the fact that you're one of those emergency managers whose hobby is being an emergency manager. It's not uncommon, so you're in good company. Oh my goodness, too much. We've got a couple more folks. Thank you so much, Kevin. We really appreciate it. We've got a couple more folks here before we cap off the night. I'm going to turn it over to Miss Dory Boardman. She's also running for our Rhode Island State Rep. I don't know. I don't think we got the video to work, but well, we'll get to hear Miss Dory's voice. So, Dory, go ahead and take it away whenever you are ready.
Thank you so much, Taylor. And yes, I never did. I'm going to have to do this all by voice. So, good evening. My name is Dory Boardman. I have very big shoes to fill with Kevin. He's done an amazing work with all the associations, and thank you very much for your service. I am running for IAEM USA Region 1, Rhode Island State Representative. Currently, I am the Narragansett Emergency Management Agent, Senior Emergency Management Specialist. So I am available for all kinds of different duties as that would pertain. But my career started off, my background is with the State Emergency Management Agency. I started off with Hurricane Irene as the Washington County Regional Coordinator. I was responsible for 9 local municipalities and coordinated all their emergency management plans. But during the disaster, we were deployed to the state EOC, where I was trained in all ICS NIMS and whatever tasks needed to be performed. I'm most proud of at that time of building relationships with the local emergency managers and with building relationships with the DPW directors. They have a lot of resources. They are the boots on the ground in a disaster, and to coordinate their resources together. It was an epic, really, event that hadn't been done before. So a lot of kudos go out to our local DPW directors during storms. Then in 2014, I went to work for the town of Charlestown after I left the state, and I was the hazard mitigation specialist. There, I developed the committee, interviewed the local officials, and got together the plan to address the risk and vulnerability. Charlestown is a coastal community, so they're kind of unique in their hazards and vulnerabilities. We were approved in 2017. The FEMA plan was approved, and I still remain as the chairperson of that committee. In 2014, I also joined the Rhode Island Association of Emergency Managers. Moving on to 2019, I said I'm actually the Narragansett Emergency Manager. I'm the Senior Emergency Management Specialist. I set up and operated the regional clinic for the COVID vaccines with the incident commander. He's the chief of that Narragansett fire. I also, in non-disaster times, write and coordinate and train on emergency management plans for the local officials. We are involved in designing and training for the local emergency operations center. During disasters in Narragansett, I have been the volunteer coordinator and the Red Cross Regional Shelter Coordinator, and also working with the DPW to prioritize the trees that are on wires to get the power restored quicker. We were able to really, during on-ray, really turn around that time to have only power outages for a few hours. And then in 2019, I became a member of the International Association of Emergency Management, USA Region 1. In 2001, I applied for certification with the PEM for IAEM, and I'm halfway through, and I anticipate a completion in November 2022. I am also the state CEM. I received that last year as well with the Rhode Island Association of Emergency Managers. In 2020, I worked for a college as a college emergency management manager. I got a call from the chief of staff at CCRI to develop and implement a back-to-school COVID-19 response opening plan. I hired and trained a team to open up 4 campuses during the height of the pandemic. I interacted closely with students and staff. It was very uncertain time, and it was very good to be able to coordinate that response in an orderly way. In 2022, in January of this year, I joined the subcommittee conference for the Rhode Island Association of Emergency Management to work on the Rhode Island Preparedness Conference. And in less than 6 months, we were able to not only find a new venue for our conference, but we pulled together a slate of interesting speakers and sponsors and vendors to have an absolutely wonderful conference that was just concluded. It was on August 12th, a few weeks ago. The Rhode Island Governor, Dan McKee, was in attendance, and also we had 300 people attend. It was just a phenomenal event and a phenomenal experience to work with that committee. I'm most proud in that event of the presenters I brought to the table to come to speak, and a couple of them were FEMA for emergency plans for pets. FEMA came to talk about that. Our Rhode Island State Veterinarian came to speak. Also from the National Weather Service, we talked about storm ready programs and how to be prepared with the theme, which was Rhode Island preparedness. And then I brought a women and emergency management panel to the conference, which was the first of its kind. I was asked to be a panelist on that team, and it was just a really spectacular event. So with all of this experience, my platform would be, as a newcomer, was to be really to think about the career that I've had in emergency management and how to encourage other professional people to the field of local emergency management, which is really to work at legislative affairs, to really bring the money in that needs to come in order to support a career in this industry. I'd like to really learn and work with the state legislature to understand how money can be channeled from the state, from the feds to the state to the locals to get things done, but the real work that we're doing, how to finance that. I would also like to work with the students to encourage the young professionals into this and mentor. That would be a wonderful opportunity to work with the emergency management clubs at the colleges and universities to bring and promote students into IAEM Region 1. So in conclusion, I would really look forward to working with all of you. I am really grateful for all the experiences that I've had with the IAEM Region 1, and I really look forward to representing Rhode Island in Region 1. That's it. Taylor?
Perfect. Thank you so much. That was wonderfully said. And the Rhode Island conference was very good. I was able to attend that on Friday on behalf of Region 1. And it's nice to just be back in person and see folks again, minus Kevin, but you know, we can't win them all. Our last but not least candidate here is Miss Mia Nardini. She, I think, is still here. There she is. Hi, Mia. She is running for our student representative. So, Mia, please go ahead and floor is yours.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Cool. Hey, everyone. My name is Mia Nardini. I am currently the Planning and Operations Coordinator for the Metro Regional Preparedness Coalition. We are the healthcare coalition that covers the 60 communities that encircle Boston. I started out as a regional medical reserve corps coordinator, then spent some time in municipal emergency management as EM specialist and safety officer for the city of Lowell here in Massachusetts. I'm not currently a student, so let me just get that off my chest. I actually graduated with my master's at the end of 2019. But have been a strong proponent for engaging and empowering students all through my professional career. So in each of my EM related roles, I actually work to establish like co-op and internship programs just because I know firsthand the benefits of really engaging students in your work. So a few months ago, I actually took over the student rep role and I came on with two goals. The first was actually geared toward the general membership, and that was to highlight the benefits of engaging students and new grads in current EM projects and initiatives, because it's often overlooked like just how much enthusiasm and creativity and new perspectives that students and new grads can bring. And to be honest, it's absolutely invaluable to growth to be able to have that on your team. So the second goal that I came on with was geared towards students in particular, and that was to engage and empower all the student memberships through student-driven initiatives. So when I came on, my first goal was to see what did the students want. So I sent a survey out to the Region 1 students because, again, like I firmly believe that like activities geared towards students, they should be driven by students and what they feel they need. And that would move the needle on their transition into the professional workforce. So I received some pretty great feedback. And so what they really seem to want are training and exercise opportunities, networking events, and then some AEM, CEM certification prep assistance. So that'll be our goals. We're actually currently working on a student event that will be held at Mass Maritime Academy next spring. And the goal there, the hope is to bring together students, academics, and current professionals. So stay tuned for that. We're really excited and we're in the baby phases of planning for that. So we are getting the wheels turning and hopefully engaging our students and everything. So I guess overall, I hope to grow the student and new graduate membership because IAEM provides great training and network opportunities, not only for the students, but for the general membership. It really does help empower the next generation and build up our professional words, our profession, not professional. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions or any ideas or anything, please let me know.
I'm gonna have to pull some of these and get them cross-stitched on a pillow. It might be a lot of words, so I'll need a really large pillow, but I think you've all said some very eloquent things tonight, and I'm super appreciative. I do want to be cognizant of folks' time here. If you do have questions, please go ahead and I'll plug some stuff we've got going on in the region if you would like to ask said questions in the chat box. Um, just a quick note, we do have a save the date out for our fall event. That will be October 21st. I encourage folks to go. It's really going to be an excellent showcase for all of the otherwise kind of underappreciated work that folks have been doing for the past year. Uh, it's been a couple of chaotic years, and we really want to reflect all of the good work that folks are doing. So we'll have some awards. We'll also offer up the opportunity for folks to do some quick kind of short talks about some stuff that they've got going on, and really just get back to that world of being together in a space all at the same time, which is very scary and incredibly exciting. So we hope that folks will attend that. That is October 21st. Please someone yell at me if I'm wrong, but that's what my notes say. The registration page is open for that, and keep your eyes peeled for more information coming out in our newsletter. We're always pushing out incredible webinars and other events that we're doing in the region. So I hope to see your faces either virtually or in person soon. Thank you all so much for attending tonight. If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If not, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to our incredible panelists and candidates here. Please make sure to place your votes by the end of the month. I believe the voting period ends October 31st, so make sure you submit your votes prior to that. That's it from me, folks. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. Take care, be safe, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.